When someone tells you you're wrong, why is it so hard to let it go? At first, you may just feel a little annoyed, but as the conversation continues, the anger grows. You started by wanting to explain yourself. Then, somewhere along the way, you started wanting to win. You want them to admit that they're wrong. You want them to say that you're right. And eventually, you may say things you never meant to say. But if you really believe you're right, why doesn't that bring you peace? Why can the anger remain even after the other person apologizes? Why does the argument continue in your head long after it has ended? Maybe what you're fighting so hard to protect isn't just about who's right. Maybe something more personal is at stake. Buddhism has an idea that can help explain this attachment to the self. It may sound abstract, but the experience is familiar. It happens when we hold our thoughts so closely that they begin to feel like part of who we are. Someone disagrees with you. At first, you simply see things differently. But then other thoughts appear. Are they looking down on me? Do they think I'm foolish? Are they saying I'm wrong? Now you're no longer defending an opinion. You're defending yourself, and every word begins to feel more personal. They speak more harshly, so you do too. They refuse to back down, so you refuse to back down. Like a small spark becoming a fire, a simple disagreement turns into an emotional fight. But some hurtful words disappear quickly, while others stay with us all day. Sometimes, it's because what happened today touched something older. A memory of being ignored. A time when you felt hurt but stayed silent. A desire to be respected or understood. Those feelings can rise with the anger you feel now. So while you're arguing with the person in front of you, you may also be releasing emotions you've carried for years. When that happens, ask yourself, what am I really trying to protect? Is it an important principle? Is it a boundary that needs to be protected? Or do I simply want the other person to admit that I'm right? None of this means you should stay silent when someone treats you badly. If someone repeatedly insults you, you can create distance. If something is unfair, you can speak up. And if necessary, you can leave the relationship. Setting boundaries is part of protecting yourself. But protecting yourself and defeating someone are not the same thing. A healthy boundary lets you say what needs to be said and then stop. A fight to prove that you're right is harder to end. Even an apology may not feel like enough. Even when the other person admits your point, the anger may remain. Because the goal is no longer to solve the problem. The argument has become something you need to win. And sometimes, you can win the argument and still walk away feeling defeated. So what can you do when you're already furious? In that moment, you're probably not going to think about Buddhist ideas like attachment or non-self. So don't try to make the anger disappear. Just create a small space between what you feel and what you do next. Don't answer immediately. Take one slow breath. Then ask yourself, am I trying to solve this problem, or am I just trying to win? Feeling angry and acting on anger are not the same thing. You can feel the anger and still choose what you do next. Managing your mind doesn't mean never getting angry. It means keeping your ability to choose, even when you are angry. Once you've paused, separate three things. What actually happened? How did you interpret it? And what do you really want? Imagine someone interrupts you while you're speaking. That's what happened. But then you think, they don't respect me. That may be true, but it may also be your interpretation. Now consider what you actually want. Do you want to solve the problem? Do you want an apology? Or do you simply want them to admit that you're right? When these things become mixed together, your interpretation can start to feel like a fact. they interrupted me becomes they don't respect me. And the more certain you become of that, the more the anger grows. But when you separate what happened from what you assumed, and from what you want, you begin to see something more clearly. You begin to see what you're really angry about. But one question still remains. Why is it so hard to let a thought be just a thought? Why can someone disagreeing with your opinion feel like they're rejecting you? This is where the Buddhist idea of non-self can help. It doesn't have to be complicated. The thought you have right now is not the whole of who you are. There are probably things you once believed were absolutely true, but see differently today. You were still you then, and you are still you now. So what you believe today doesn't have to become something you defend as if your whole identity depends on it. You can simply say, "This is what I think." You don't have to add, "So you must be wrong." You can believe something and still leave room for someone else to see it differently. That isn't weakness. Real strength may be hearing someone disagree with your opinion without feeling that they have rejected you. You don't need to remember everything from this video. The next time you feel anger rising, remember just a few things. Don't answer immediately. Take one slow breath. Separate what actually happened from the meaning you gave it. Then ask yourself, am I trying to solve this problem, or am I trying to prove that I'm right? You won't always catch yourself in time. At first, you may realize what happened only after the argument is over. Later, you may notice it while you're still arguing. And eventually, you may stop just before saying something you would regret. That is already real change. You don't need to become someone who never gets angry. When you need to protect yourself clearly. But you don't need to win every argument. Sometimes, knowing what not to say matters just as much as knowing what to say. One sentence left unsaid may save you hours of regret. And sometimes, it may protect a relationship that matters to you. So when anger rises, don't let it choose what happens next. Even in that heated moment, the final choice can still be yours. Whenever you can, choose the wiser way.